Hello, everyone. Again, welcome to the 8th Annual Sustainable Cleveland Summits. I'm Matt Gray, Director in the Mayor's Office of Sustainability. Thank you so much for coming. Also, thank you to our incredible sponsors, volunteers. We truly cannot do this without you. I should start by saying this presentation is literally impossible, but in a good way, i.e. it's impossible to give the state of sustainable Cleveland in 20 minutes. There's so much going on. You and your peers have accomplished so much in just the last 12 months. So I'm truly in awe, and of course, I won't be able to touch on everything. So working in sustainability, I know it can feel sometimes like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe one and a half steps back, but it's clear as a whole we are making progress as a community. One of the main objectives of this summit is innovating on how we can really scale up that progress in a whole host of areas. See page 8 in your guide for some of those topics, and page 10 has more on those objectives. So, what is Sustainable Cleveland? I think first and foremost, it's a community of people. The summit is an opportunity to renew, engage, re-energize, connect with old friends, meet new friends. These are a couple photos from the potluck in the park this past Saturday at Riddle in the Kinsman neighborhood. Our Vital Neighborhoods Working Group has been doing this for 5 years now. So it's just amazing work bringing together the community around food. One community of people I want to recognize is the staff from our office. This team hustles every day, and I can't thank them enough. So from left to right, we have Kathy Len, Anna Natarajan, Kristen Hall, Felina Selden, Stacy Albin, Maddie Didos, who you can see is also a musician, Muiwa Oni and Lucia Gutierrez. They were both fellows in our office this summer. Rachel Cosin, and of course, our chief, Janita McGowan. We're so happy she was able to join us today. Yes. So we pay great attention to who is attending the summit, who is here, and the sector is really participating year-round in this initiative. This is because we believe strongly that to change a whole community, you need to engage the whole community. So who's in the room? We have Clevelanders from all walks of life, including the businesses, nonprofits, government, education, arts and culture, and much more. Because this is our 8th summit, I think it's important to recognize these next 2 days as an opportunity, again, to renew and re-energize. Many of you have been working at sustainability for a long time, often before it was called sustainability. So, know that we need your expertise and your knowledge and your passion to really be successful going forward. For just about half of you, as we saw, it's your first summit, so welcome. It's absolutely vital to get so many people that are new and continuing to add new, fresh ideas to this work. On the other hand, around 26 of you have contributed to all 8 summits. So if you are in the room, and that's you, please stand up and be recognized. Yeah. And if you don't remember, you should probably get recognized too. It means you've been here a lot. We also have youth sustainability leaders in the room. Working with Education Chief Monica Price, CMSD, Tri-C, and many more, we launched the Youth Sustainability Leadership Program this year. About 50 youth have been selected as the inaugural cohort of these youth sustainability leaders. They'll be here all day tomorrow, and some of them are also here today. The plan is for these youth leaders, along with a program design team, and if you're interested, please let me know, to hold the first Youth Sustainability Summit and Career Expo in spring 2017. So we can't wait to see what they come up with. We also have Belarus in the house. Are they around? Yeah, there we go. So we have 10 young professionals being hosted by the Cleveland Council on World Affairs. So welcome them, and so glad you were able to participate. This multi-sectoral approach is embedded in our mission, which you can see here. So why the year 2019? Every 10 years, media swoop in to do a retrospective of Cleveland. So on an anniversary, really from the 1969 fire, right? The last time the river caught on fire. Also caught on fire 12 times before that. So 2019, it's an anniversary, but it's also a deadline for us to have our own story to tell. A story of transformation from the mistake on the lake to the green city on a blue lake. And as you may have noticed, 2019 is not so far away anymore, a little scary for some of us. So the outcomes of this summit are critical to ensure that this story is truly transformative. These values here have driven the initiative from the start. We are dynamic and cumulative, building from year to year. We're inclusive and welcoming, and we are bold while seeking achievable solutions. Sustainable Cleveland is also organized around celebration years. So this year, as was talked about, is the year of sustainable transportation. Next year is the year of vibrant green space. You know, we work on all these issues all the time, but it is helpful to have these annual celebration years to add focus and really create new collaborations. And I would say above all, Sustainable Cleveland is about taking action. It is meant to serve as a resource to help Clevelanders make smart, sustainable decisions, whether it's at home, at work, or in their community. I think the heart and soul of Sustainable Cleveland is the working groups. They often form at summits, to achieve specific outcomes. In addition, the summit sparks many initiatives in businesses, homes, and communities across Cleveland. By the end of tomorrow, we hope to add value to these existing working groups. You can see some on the left there. And likely we'll create some new ones as well. Many working groups, we're calling them quote-unquote graduates here, for lack of a better term, they've morphed over time into separate nonprofit and for-profit businesses. So true success stories. So, Ron touched on this, but, the importance of climate action. Back in 2013, our office convened a 50-member committee to create the Cleveland Climate Action Plan. This plan includes 33 actions that activate the Sustainable Cleveland celebration topics I talked about. All 33 actions serve to either reduce our emissions, our greenhouse gas emissions, and/or help us begin to be more resilient to the impacts of climate we're already seeing in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. These actions were also prioritized because they met the triple bottom line of sustainability. So even if climate change didn't exist, which it definitely does, we all know that, right? We should still implement them, because even if it didn't, right, they would still make sense from a perspective of people, planet, and profit. So this actually seems like a fairly long time ago now, but late last year, the world, I would say, finally came together to make really more serious commitments to climate action. What's clear is that we cannot address climate change without cities taking a serious leadership role to address this global problem. So the Compact of Mayors was launched, and already more than 500 cities have signed on, including 129 in the US. Mayor Jackson joined this compact, demonstrating Cleveland's commitment to an ambitious global climate solution. And because of our work really completed over these last few years, we're on pace to meet all these compact commitments at least 2 years ahead of schedule. Thanks. Of course, there's much work to be done. So, what climate changes are we already seeing in Northeast Ohio? 2.4 degrees. That's the increase in temperatures over the last 50 years just here in Cleveland. This has health implications for our residents, especially those without AC, those who live in areas with a lot of pavement, those who don't have much of a tree canopy around their house or around their neighborhood. 20 days, that is the increase in our freeze-free season. So on average, Lake Erie is frozen 20 less days per year than it was 50 years ago. While this is good for navigation, this has serious water quality implications. Finally, we have 26% more rain overall in this community, and the amount of rain falling during the heaviest events increased by 22%, which is very important because that also has big implications for stormwater, right, and our combined sewer system and the health of our lake. So, through the Climate Resilience and Urban Opportunity Initiative, led by Cleveland Neighborhood Progress, which is here, we are working on a multi-pronged strategy to improve climate resilience, but really from the ground up. And in 4 neighborhoods we're focusing on initially, so Kinsman, Glenville, Detroit Shoreway, as well as Savick Village. And there's also climate ambassadors in each of these 4 neighborhoods that are really helping make this happen, and some of them are here today as well. Also, at this year's summit, there's money. There's some monetary support behind your ideas, which is exciting. So the Cleveland Climate Action Fund, in partnership with IOBI, which stands for In Our Backyard, as opposed to NIMBY, right? Not in my backyard. They've launched a crowdfunding challenge. So they're awarding up to $5,000 in matching funds for projects that take climate action. So there's going to be much more about this throughout the summit. And the last cornerstone of Sustainable Cleveland is measurement. Our dashboard of 28 indicators, this is online. This helps inform our strategy. It highlights our progress. It educates us really through metrics, and it really helps us tell stories about sustainability. The idea is for everyone to be able to find one of these metrics that resonates with them and for them to help move that needle forward. So I encourage you to check those out online. So as we take stock, celebrate progress, and chart the course of action, I'd like to take a look at this year and what's been accomplished just on sustainable transportation. We had a committee this year on sustainable transportation and included representation from 35 organizations. So if you are in the room, also please stand and be recognized for all your hard work. Yes. So, as we began the year of sustainable transportation, the city librarian, yes, we have a great library in City Hall, if you've never been. Yeah, there we go. The librarian found this really cool nugget. It turns out in 2016, we are celebrating the 100-year anniversary of the first Cleveland Bicycle Parade. About 700 cyclists took part in this 1916 ride, which included riders, quote-unquote, fancy dress riding around, and ended at League Park in the Huff neighborhood, which, of course, recently got renovated really beautifully. So, of course, this tradition is still alive today with critical mass rides the last Friday of every month, leaving from Public Square. We had many great events focused on sustainable transportation. Just a few. We had a kickoff in January at City Hall. Many cycling events, from Neocycle to Slow Roll to Bike to Work Fridays, which are always fun. There was a 10-state solar car race that started in Cuyahoga Valley National Park. So we're really honored to have that, which actually the National Park was celebrating their 100-year anniversary as well this year. And we had boat floats. I mean, what is more sustainable than moving around on reused plastic? So that was great. And just last night, NOACA held an event at IdeaStream to help inform their long-term transportation planning. And this summit will really serve to move the ball forward on that planning as well. It was talked about, but speaking of events, just today, of course, we launched UHBikes, officially, Cleveland's bike share system. I've used the system really a number of times. Yeah, big round of applause. I've really used it a number of times, and if you haven't checked out the new red bikes, they're kind of amazing. They got 8 speeds now. You can just glide around beautifully. But the system allows you, if you haven't used it yet, to check a bike out of a station. Any of the stations around town. I think there'll be 29 of them very shortly. And then you can return it to any other station. And even this system allows it because all the technology is on the bike itself. You can actually return that bike to any bike rack for a small fee. So it's a really great technology. And I think this is a really great example of that triple bottom line in action I was talking about earlier. So for planet, right, bikes, they are zero emission vehicles. And the more people we have commuting by bike or walking or public transit and so on, that's less cars on the road and less air pollution. It's for people, right? Our citizens get healthier being on the bikes and, of course, breathing cleaner air, and for profit. So we've seen many studies around other cities with bike share programs, and where there's stations, the businesses around those stations are doing better. So it really is meeting the triple bottom line. So to learn more, Alex Baca is here, and there's also going to be some information in the back if you want to learn more. Another area of focus this year has been accelerating progress on alternative fuel vehicles, and that includes electric vehicles. We have a working group formed this year to increase the awareness and adoption of alt-fuel vehicles and supporting infrastructure. There's a one-pager in your bag, which gives a little bit of that work, and they just hosted an event today where people had a chance to test drive some electric vehicles and much more. Open streets. Cleveland got its taste of open streets this year, right? The Cavs parade and RNC come to mind. You can see, we've all seen it. Shirtless J.R. Smith, carpooling, which is fantastic during this open streets events. But how do we make open streets really more regular, right? How do we bring the community together around health and sustainability regularly? So enter Cyclevia. The Cyclevia Open Streets Initiative launched this year, whereby streets are closed to cars and open to people-powered movement, right? So running, biking, yoga, hopscotch, piggyback rides, much, much more. So the spark for this came out of a summit a couple years ago and was actually inspired by the work of our keynote and his work in Bogota and the open streets work there. So the last Cyclevia is on October 8th. We hope to see you there. Safe routes to school. Now let me take you back to 1969 again. That year, 48% of children 5 to 14 years of age usually walked or biked to school. By 2009, that number dropped to 13%. So nationally, traffic-related danger is seen by parents as the second biggest reason for this. So to help increase these numbers in Cleveland, Safe Routes to School launched in Cleveland and has had amazing strides this year. They've conducted walk audits at 69 different K through 8 school buildings to improve walking and biking conditions. And this map is just one example of a route that gets created after one of these walk audits. So it really identifies those streets that are best for walking to school. And this is a collaborative between CMSD, Ohio Department of Transportation, the city, NOACA, as well as Bike Cleveland. And then with regards to planning, the city is continuing its progress in the bikeway implementation plan. The plan is designed to increase the number of bikeway miles by 70 between 2014 and 2017, right? So we're nearing the end of year 3 here of this 4-year plan. And the overall goal is to really provide cycling amenities in every single Cleveland neighborhood. About 16 miles will be added this year, and we actually project even more than that will be added in 2017. I think this is serious progress. You know, like all transformations, this change has required time and commitment from a lot of people, including the cycling community, NOACA, and a number of city departments who are working so hard on this. So you have planning, our capital projects office, streets, as well as traffic engineering. The amount of time these folks spend going to public meetings, getting input from all users, all the way through to design and implementation is really amazing. Just one hallmark project completed this year was Half-Mile Fleet Avenue. This project shows the impact of the Complete and Green Streets Ordinance that was passed a few years ago. And we actually held, working with 880 cities and Slavic Village Development, we held a walk audit training today. Thank you. And then looking forward, right, we really hope to build off this progress to ensure all road users feel safe. Again, from 8 years, as well as 80-year-olds. So the Midway cycle track is an example of looking to do just that. Located in the middle of the road, it would function like the Helpline on Euclid Avenue, but really for bikes, right, instead of buses. This was first, again, inspired by the cycling community. NOACA funded the city now to develop a plan that identifies those corridors best suited for the Midway. And this planning is happening right now. And then looking at safety more broadly, NOACA completed an effort this year called the Transportation Safety Action Plan. It's meant to guide the region on planning for safety with emphasis on crashes in really 5 areas. So alcohol and drugs related, motorcycles, bicycles and pedestrians, road departures, and as well as young drivers. And RTA continues to seek new ways to expand ridership. With the iGo RTA campaign, more than 20 organizations across the city are now giving discounts to people who show their RTA pass or ticket. Maybe your organization is next. RTA van pools are also set to launch this year, and there's many, many more accomplishments listed in the guide. But of course, more investment is needed to meet current and unmet demand for public transit. Transit funding from Ohio's General Revenue Fund has steadily decreased over the last 15 years. And while federal highway money has met some of that gap, much, much more is needed. You know, ratepayers simply can't shoulder all the costs of a public transit system. So we look forward next couple days to really working on this, as well as the next couple of years. So in breakouts today and tomorrow, we'll be doing just that. I think there's an opportunity to really think through how all stakeholders can get together around this. And all of these actions and more, including land use, are needed to transform the way we get around the city and how easy it is for Clevelanders to get to jobs. More than 2/3 of us still drive alone to work. How might we work together to bring that number down to 2019 and beyond. So with my remaining time, I really want to highlight some of the other big wins from 2016 across all sustainability areas. So what better way to make the link between transportation and green space than this project? Metroparks and its partners won an $8 million grant in July that packages 5 separate trail initiatives as a single new project. Creating this comprehensive network of trails is a big piece in providing better access to the lakefront, really for everyone in Cleveland. We are making progress in installing green infrastructure to manage and filter stormwater before it reaches Lake Erie. To date, the sewer district has funded 56 projects, green infrastructure projects since '09, with a total award of about $8 million. Examples you see here are the West Side Market, pervious pavers. I know some of you have been distraught not being able to park as easily at West Side Market. Trust me, it's worth it. These pavers are amazing. There's a living wall here in Ohio City, and a bioretention at the Western Reserve Historical Society. And of course, more green infrastructure projects means more green infrastructure maintenance. Very exciting. We often forget about maintenance, but it is really crucial. So using an Ohio EPA grant to our office, we have worked with many partners this past year to provide infrastructure maintenance trainings to municipalities throughout Northeast Ohio. 21 communities have been served and 175 municipal employees have received this training. And of course, Public Square, as I already talked about, opened this summer, which also includes many green infrastructure elements, in case you didn't know. We'll actually be going to Rebel in Public Square tomorrow for our happy hour at 5 p.m., so really hope you can join us for that. And we can't talk about green space without talking about trees. Seems like everyone's talking about trees these days, which is fantastic. We have an amazing Cleveland Metroparks, right? We have the Emerald Necklace, we have lovely parks everywhere. But there's a lot of work to make Cleveland the forest city once again. Since the mid-1900s, Cleveland has lost about half its trees. That's about 100,000 trees for a wide variety of reasons. This is actually an image from space, and you can basically see the outline of Cleveland just by seeing the tree canopy. So, without these trees, the city is losing tens of millions of dollars of value really every year associated with them. That has to do with stormwater control, has to do with property values, air pollution, energy costs, and more. Trees have so many benefits across everything, most things I think we care about. So this is not even mentioning the public health benefits associated with trees, both things like asthma-related, but also mental health. So last year, working with many partners, we launched the Cleveland Tree Plan, which is approved by the Planning Commission this spring. And since then, the Cleveland Tree Coalition was established to implement this plan. It includes 9 actions around 3 goals you can see here. The first one really is recognizing trees as critical infrastructure. Think about it. Trees, it's the only piece of infrastructure after day 1 that actually appreciates or increases in value. Everything else, day 1, it's already starting to decrease. Number 2, reverse the trend of canopy loss, as I mentioned. And to really do so equitably across neighborhoods. Some neighborhoods have as low as 4% canopy, others are in the 30%. As we prioritize planning over time, I think we know where those trees should probably go. And we also need to assume full stewardship of the canopy. And we've seen great innovation, the CAVs, their Trees for Threes program. So every time a 3-pointer is made, they plant a tree, so go Cavs. And to the tree steward trainings as well. So Western Reserve Land Conservancy and Holden have these great trainings that you can take to really learn how to maintain and care for trees. But what's clear to be successful in this is we need the entire community. To do a lot of this work, we need great tools, and the county has really stepped up. So Sustainable Cuyahoga was created by the county in partnership with Green City Blue Lake Institute. This toolkit aimed to help communities with policies and programs to ramp up their sustainability efforts. And also Cuyahoga Greenprint was developed. This is a useful guide to protect habitat and increase landscape and trail connectivity. We talked about offshore wind, so I won't belabor it, but just to say this is pretty awesome. What a landmark project that really builds off our manufacturing base, provides jobs, and really positions us for the future. Solar. While progress on renewable energy, like transit, right, depends in no small part on state policy, there is a lot we can do locally to ramp up renewable energy generation. Earlier this year, the county teamed up with Community Power Network to start a solar co-op. So the idea is pretty simple. if you're interested in exploring solar, so whether you're a resident or a small business, you basically join together to not only save on the cost of the installation, right, sort of that economies of scale working, but also you get to learn from each other in the process through this co-op. So more than 100 have already signed on. If you're interested, there is a table in the back. You can sign up just to learn more and possibly get involved in this co-op. Similarly, if you're interested in saving money by saving energy, there's some good programs out there. We restarted the Cleveland Energy Saver program about a year ago, which is really focusing on low-cost, high-impact areas, right? So things like air insulation, or air sealing, insulation, thermostats, lighting, those sort of things. And it's not only just on homeowners, but rental units as well. So whether you're a landlord or a homeowner, this could be a good program. They also have a table in the back. And if it's not a good fit, there's also other programs out there. They can direct you to the right energy efficiency program for you. And then businesses. There's great opportunities for existing buildings, right? It's the toughest nut to crack when we're talking about energy efficiency. More than 40 property owners in downtown and university circles are now a member of the Cleveland 2030 district, including the city itself. We're working together to reduce water use and energy use, as well as transportation emissions. Green building is also a great opportunity. We've just actually recently updated the Cleveland Green Building Standard. So essentially this says, if you want to build or do a major renovation in Cleveland, and you want property tax abatement for that property, you must build green. This updated standard, I think, is more streamlined, and it also explicitly allows, I'd say, more innovative approaches. For example, like the passive house standard, which is more common in Germany. There's also a living building challenge. So these really forward-thinking green building practices we're really trying to encourage more and more. COSE, the Council of Small Enterprises, also has some really, really great programs. They provide free energy assessments, and they've done some really, truly groundbreaking work around what's called green leases. So these are leases that bring together landlords and tenants to work together on energy efficiency, really so they both benefit. This is a national challenge in terms of, when you have this sort of split incentive problem, and they're doing amazing work on trying to fix that here in Cleveland and really becoming a national leader. They have some great case studies online, including one from GEIS companies. The clinic has also taken advantage of energy efficiency. They announced earlier this year a $7.5 million green revolving fund. So this is the largest of its kind in the healthcare industry. These funds invest in energy efficiency projects to reduce energy use while reinvesting that money saved for future projects. So it's really a great innovative approach to energy efficiency. And of course, waste. There's also many opportunities for businesses and residents alike to reduce waste. The County Solid Waste District, they've launched a great new campaign this year, making it easier than ever to recycle. They also have a table in the back if you want to learn more. And then finally, with business leadership, right? This is so crucial to the Sustainable Cleveland Initiative. More and more businesses are looking to third-party verification for sustainability reporting. So essentially, all business types can report through organizations like the Global Reporting Initiative, the Carbon Disclosure Project, or you can get certified actually as a benefits corporation, or you might have heard the term B Corp. It's a really cool way to show your leadership around these issues. The city itself has actually reported to the Carbon Disclosure Project for 4 years now. So other certifications that businesses can do are also sector-specific. Just one example is the Dying Green certification. So restaurants or caterers can actually get certified Dying Green if they are really integrating sustainability into their work. And then specific to transportation, businesses can become certified bicycle-friendly businesses. So we have 6 here in Northeast Ohio, and many more are applying now. So there's lots of ways for your organization to really plug in, no matter what size or type of business you are. And finally, of course, there's many, many more stories to tell. Maybe you have your own story to share. Our brand new website, launched a couple months ago, actually allows users to submit success stories, events, and so on. So we encourage you to go to sustainablecleveland.org. And finally, I'd like to close with this word cloud. When registering for the summit, many of you answered a question about, what you envision for a sustainable Cleveland. And these words essentially summarize those answers that you gave. So, I'm really, truly looking forward to the next day and a half to see how quickly we can move from vision to action, because that's what this initiative is really about.